Bloody scam. Every order is defectious when you receive it. Ridiculous scammers. Trash company. 11 ruined shirts. Poor printing quality. Horrible customer service. Whatever you do, avoid doing business with this company. I spent over $500 on samples and they took forever, plus they looked crap. Run away. Yep, these are pretty much every new print-on-demand store's worst nightmares. And so as you can see, picking the right company for your store is crucial. But the question is, how do you choose which one? And well, it's a good question, so helping you do that is my goal for this video. Not only have I worked with a huge range of print-on-demand companies myself, so I have my personal experience to pull from, but I've also gone ahead and ordered a bunch of different samples from Printify, Printful, and Gelato so that you can see for yourself which one is the winner. And I think that my reviews for these companies are probably going to surprise a lot of people, especially my reviews for Printify and Gelato. And speaking of that, I want to start out first by giving a very honest, brutal review of Printify. Yes, and there is a good reason why I wanted to tackle Printify first, and that is because there is a lot of misinformation about it online. Yep, you see, most people think that Printify prints and ships the products that they sell themselves, but they don't. Instead, they use external third-party print-on-demand companies to do that for them, which is why Printify is what I like to call the Uber Eats of print-on-demand. But unfortunately, as I said, most people don't seem to realize this. As you can see from these reviews, these people mistakenly think that it is Printify making and shipping the products, and it's because of this mistake that they're receiving bad quality products that are late. And I'll explain why shortly. But first, let me just explain how the Printify website and app works. So this here is, of course, Printify. It is probably the biggest, most popular print-on-demand app out of the big three. And the way it works is very simple. You just create a free account, and then you connect it to your store. They have integrations with pretty much all of the major e-commerce platforms out there, like Shopify, WooCommerce, Etsy, and eBay. You then go through the catalog of blank products to sell, and you pick one of the products to customize. Printify easily has the largest selection out of the big three apps to pick from, with over 900 different products. For all of their most popular print-on-demand products, such as t-shirts and mugs, you will find an incredibly wide selection of products to pick from, with a lot of different variations. But you will also find on Printify what at first glance appears to be a surprising amount of niche and interesting and unique products on there. So, for example, if we come to Printify's catalog and open up their tech accessories, you'll see all sorts of weird and wonderful products on here, like a Bluetooth speaker, a customizable watch strap, and a mobile phone stand. And here's the thing, right? If we come on over and do a search on Printful or on Gelato, we won't find either of these three products. They just simply don't sell them. And so, by far, Printify is absolutely the undisputed winner when it comes to product selection. The product selection is immense and huge. So yes, once you pick your product, all you do is upload your design that you've created onto it. I've been using Printify now for many years, and I can tell you that over those years, the product creation screen has gone from clunky but usable to something that is astonishingly impressive, both with how well it works and with its features. No joke, I could probably, if I really wanted to, create a 30-minute in-depth tutorial on how to use the Printify product creation tool and all of its different features, but don't worry, I'm not going to do that and bore you. Nope. But basically what you need to know is that it has all of the nice quality of life features that you want. For example, it has the buttons, which with one click will resize and automatically place designs for you so that you can get the perfect placement. And it has a large range of mock-up photos included for the more popular products. For me, I think that out of the three, that Printify and Printful are both tied for first place in terms of how good their product editors are. I like them both. But yes, once you've finished creating your product, you then just add it into the store that you have connected. And now it will be listed for sale. You can then go ahead and set your own markup price for it. And then each time a customer buys it, Printify will then charge the credit card or debit card that you put on file with them for the base price of the product, plus shipping. They will then send the order to the print shop, who will then print your design onto the product and then package it up and ship it out to the customer, while you get to keep the difference as profit. This is, of course, the big advantage to print on demand. It is a very low risk business because you only buy each product after customers have already paid for it. So yes, that is how Printify works in a nutshell. And for me, I've found it very passive. It all works for me on autopilot, as I've shared in videos like this one here on the channel. Pretty much the only thing that I've had to do is answer any emails from customers. Printify handled the rest. So then it begs the question, why then have I had a good experience using Printify, yet others out there have had a bad experience? Well, it's because, as I said, a lot of people misunderstand and don't realize that Printify is the Uber Eats of print on demand. Because you think about it, right? When you order, say, a burger from Uber Eats, it isn't Uber Eats that makes your burger for you, is it? It is the restaurant that you ordered from through the Uber Eats app that makes it for you. So you would never leave a review about Uber Eats saying, Uber Eats made me a terrible burger. Don't order from Uber Eats. Instead, you would leave a review of the specific restaurant that made your burger. Well, Printify is exactly the same. When you sell, say, a t-shirt from Printify, it is not actually Printify that makes that t-shirt for you. Nope, Printify themselves have no print shops. Instead, they have offices, because Printify is a tech company, not a printing company. And as a tech company, they have built their app, Printify. This app was designed so that other print-on-demand companies can list their products for sale through the app, just like what Uber Eats does. Over 100 different print-on-demand companies list and sell their products through Printify's app, which is exactly why Printify's catalogue of products is so vast and wide, because Printify themselves don't need hundreds of factories to store, print and ship such a wide variety of items. They also have print shops located all around the world. They have partners in the USA, Canada, Europe, Asia and South America, which is very convenient for people who are running global stores. Whereas if you take Printify's next biggest competitor, who I'll be also doing a brutal review later on in this video, Printful, they are a print-on-demand company. They have their own warehouses and their own printing facilities. They stock their own products. When you buy a product from Printful, it is them who is actually making it and shipping it. And so that is the big difference between Printify and Printful. On Printful, you are buying directly from them, but on Printify, you are buying from their third-party partners, and this has pros and cons. Yes, so for example, let's say that you decided to sell one of their more popular print-on-demand t-shirts, the Bella Canvas 3001. Well, if you did, you would have two options. Firstly, you can let Printify select and choose a supplier from their third-party network for you, or you can instead do what I would choose to do, which is to choose your supplier manually. And when you do that, you will quickly see that as this is such a popular product, many companies within their network offer this, and you can make the choice to choose manually which of these companies you would like to make your t-shirts for you, which can be really great because, for example, here you can see that it's showing you what t-shirt colors each print provider offers. So you can make sure that you pick the one that offers the colors that you want to sell. However, the flip side to all of this is that the printing quality from each of these different print partners can vary drastically. Yep, and to show you, I went ahead and ordered t-shirts from 3 different companies from Printify: Monster Digital, SwiftPod, and Fulfill Engine. For each company, I gave them the exact same design, this cute little cartoon featuring a Swedish Valhund dog eating some delicious ramen. This is, of course, inspired by my own dog, a Swedish Valhund, Starbuck. But anyway, I digress. Out of these 3 companies, by far, Monster Digital printed the superior t-shirt. Not only did the colours match the colours of the design I uploaded best, the print itself was applied nicely, so the design didn't feel too raised or textured or sticky. It was nice and smooth. And well, I checked it out, and currently for the Bella Canvas 3001 t-shirts, Monster Digital has a 9.4 rating out of 10, which, as you'll see, is the highest of the 3. Although it should be noted that this is not a user review. Nope, it is a performance review number. It is automatically generated by Printify's algorithm based on factors like complaint rate, on-time delivery rates, and production speed. So the performance review number isn't always the most important metric to look for, but it can definitely help you in choosing which suppliers to work with. And honestly, for me, I was not personally surprised that Monster Digital was the winner. This here is Monster Digital's internal printing facilities. They are based in Miami, and they also go by another name, TSC Miami. Their print shop has been my #1 go-to print shop on Printify for clothing for years. I've personally had a great experience with them. Yes, which is why I did include them inside of my list of my personal favorite print-on-demand companies inside of my free ebook, The 6 Steps That Six-Figure Online Stores Follow to Make Over $10,000 a Month with Print On Demand. If you'd like to get a copy of my free ebook, I will have a link to that in the video description below. But anyway, back to the video. And onto the t-shirt that came in second place, Fulfill Engine. Their t-shirt was definitely worse than Monster Digital's because the print was more washed out and the colours were darker than they should be. But even though the t-shirt was darker and washed out, Fulfill Engine are charging $14.13 per t-shirt on Printify right now, which is more than what Monster Digital is charging. So there you go. Keep that in mind. Just because a print-on-demand company is more expensive, it definitely does not mean that they're better. And then in last place came SwiftPod. And here's the thing, me placing SwiftPod in the last place is probably going to be a little bit controversial because there are a lot of people that do like SwiftPod and there are plenty of people on YouTube who will recommend to you SwiftPod. So let me just make something clear right now. Just because SwiftPod came in last here, it doesn't mean that they always print bad quality t-shirts. Nope, production is not a perfect process. All forms of production will have some mistakes. So just because SwiftPod's t-shirt did not come out good this time doesn't mean that they always come out bad. It might be that I just got unlucky and that I happened to get a bad batch because production is not perfect. That is why then I recommend that when choosing a print-on-demand company and print shop that, as I talked about in this video here, you should never just look at one review. Instead, look at many reviews and ideally try and find at least one person who has ordered hundreds to thousands of products like me from a single supplier. That way you can see what their experience is working with a supplier at scale rather than just looking at what their experience was from a single sample order. And with that disclaimer out of the way, let's go back to the t-shirts. So yes, SwiftPod clearly came in last, and that is because the colours, while much more vibrant than Fulfill Engines, went the other extreme. They were way too vibrant. I'm not sure if it will show up on my camera, but the ramen bowl is bright red for the SwiftPod t-shirt when it should have been more crimson. So it is arguable which one was worse. Some might say Fulfill Engine is worse and should be in last place instead. Some might say SwiftPod. It's up to you. But either way, it was far too vibrant of a print. And this can sometimes happen because there is a pre-treatment process before a t-shirt is printed. And so if this is done excessively or it's not done correctly, ink can bond too intensely, which causes it to both look overly vibrant and to feel raised and almost a little sticky in texture, which this print does. I'm not sure if it will show up on camera, but it is overly raised and textured. So I don't know if that's what's happened here, but the t-shirt print is, in my personal opinion, not good. And if we go ahead and take a look at the listing on Printify, you can see that each t-shirt is currently going for $11.40, which is similar to Monster Digital, and their rating is 9.1 out of 10. So as you can see, this rating system is not always perfect. And because their ratings are close, yet SwiftPod has more colours than Monster Digital, I can imagine that some people would snap pick it, even though I personally prefer Monster Digital. So yeah, hopefully you can see why there are such a variety of reviews for Printify online, because if you pick the wrong print shop, you'll have unhappy customers, but on the flip side, if you pick the right print shop, you will have happy customers. So then, let's now contrast this with my brutal review for the second most popular app, Printful. So yes, this here is Printful. Because Printful and Printify both have similar names, people often mix them up, but no, they are completely different apps and completely different companies. Printful is older than Printify, and it is the OG print-on-demand website that pretty much invented and created the whole industry. From the very beginning, Printful always had their own internal print shops and printing facilities. So when you buy from Printful, again, their company makes and ships the products out for you, which, as you'll see, has advantages and it has disadvantages depending on what you want and what you personally value. But of course, it works pretty much the exact same way, and it's very simple to use. You just sign up for a free Printful account, and then you connect your store to Printful. Printful also has a huge selection of different integration partners and connects with most major e-commerce websites and stores, including Etsy and Shopify and WooCommerce and eBay. Then you go through the catalog of blank items and you choose one that you'd like to sell. Despite having a smaller selection than Printify, their selection of products is still incredibly extensive. They currently have over 300 products. Like Printify, I have been using Printful for years, and I have been genuinely astonished at how quickly and fast the catalogue has grown over that time. When I first started using them, I think that they had around 100 to 150 items, and while their selection is smaller than Printify's, they too have their own exclusive items that Printify does not have. For example, Printful has this very cool tie-dye hoodie, whereas Printify currently only sells tie-dye t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tank tops. But yes, once you've picked your product, like with Printify, you just upload your design onto it and customize it. Printful's product editor is extensive, and again, I could probably give a 30-minute in-depth tutorial on this alone just to discuss how to use all of the cool features. But again, don't worry, I'm not going to bore you with one. I'll just note that it also has all of the important quality of life features that you want, like buttons which will automatically place designs in commonly printed spots, and an extensive range of mock-up photos, particularly for their more popular products which have the most photos to choose from. Then, once edited, you just push the product into your store and you list it for sale for a markup price. And then, when a customer buys it, Printify will automatically see the order and they'll charge your credit card or debit card on file the base cost to print and ship the t-shirt, and it will print your design onto the product, package it up, and ship it out to the customer, while you get to keep the difference as profit. Yes, and as I said, I have personally been using Printful for years and I have had a really great experience with them. It truly has been like they have been running my stores on autopilot for me. And because Printful handles their fulfillment all in-house, making each item themselves, the quality standard has overall been very high, and because they make each item, you don't have to worry about researching and choosing and selecting a print shop each time you want to add an item into your store. Their in-house production has been extremely convenient for my business. Plus, if you sell globally, you can also benefit from using Printful too, and that's because Printful have, over time, opened production facilities throughout the world. They have in-house printing facilities and third-party facilities that they partner with as part of their expansion. And I'll be honest, I haven't had a great personal experience with the prints I've received from their partner facilities, but luckily in your settings, you can turn those off and just use their in-house print shops, which I've personally opted to do. And something else that I should note is that their global printing facilities usually don't include their niche items. Instead, they focus on stocking their best-selling products, which for most people is fine and convenient for what they want to sell. But it should also be noted that all of this convenience comes at a price. Yep, it varies from item to item, but in general, items cost more on Printful compared to comparative items on Printify. For example, take the Bella Canvas 3001 t-shirt. On Printful, the starting price for a medium t-shirt for this is $11.50. Whereas, remember, Monster Digital are charging $11.42. So it is slightly cheaper to order this from Monster Digital on Printify than it is on Printful. And these prices that I'm quoting, by the way, are the prices before any membership discounts. Yep, Printful, Printify, and Gelato all offer optional paid memberships that you can join that give you some big product discounts. They are, of course, optional, so it only makes sense to join once you're selling enough products in your store that they will actually save you money. These cost around $24 to $29 a month, although the discounts are big. They quickly become worth it. For example, you can see on Printful, the discount brings these t-shirts down to $10.30. So if you're selling 13 t-shirts a month, it's absolutely worth it to get a membership, because you'll save money. But, well, as good as it is, on Printify, the discounted price for a Monster Digital printed t-shirt is currently $9.13. That is more than $1 cheaper than it is on Printful. So my recommendation is to absolutely go through each item you're interested in selling and compare each of their prices. Because for some products, the price differences between the two websites is even greater. Yep, for example, take one of the most popular print-on-demand products, Kiss Cut stickers. On Printful, the smallest Kiss Cut sticker that you can buy is 3x3 inches, which is $2.20 before any discounts. Whereas on Printify, you can get a sticker from one of my favorite print-on-demand companies, Spoke Custom Products, that is 2x2 inches starting at $1.45 before discounts, and if you upgrade to their 3x3 sticker, it costs just $1.61. So it's about 25% cheaper to get it from this supplier on Printify. However, it's also important to note that sometimes the lower prices that you see on Printify can be deceiving. Yep, for example, take Printful's cheapest stainless steel water bottle, Before discounts, it's currently $19.95, whereas the cheapest stainless steel water bottle on Printify is currently just $9.28, and it goes down to $6.83 after discounts. That's way cheaper, right? However, when you open up the listing, you'll quickly see that the supplier, Duplium, doesn't actually have a good rating currently, and you can also see that they're based in Canada, which is of course ideal if your customers are mostly Canadian, but given the fact that the United States has over 300 million English-speaking residents and that my YouTube channel is in English, I know most people watching my channel, like me, primarily speak English, which means most people, like me, prefer targeting the USA as our primary market since it has the most English speakers by far. So basically, while Printify is often cheaper, sometimes looks can be deceiving and you really need to check each item individually and not make any assumptions. So then, perhaps Printful is overall more expensive, but is it better? Well, here was a t-shirt that I got from Printful. And the print itself felt nice. It wasn't overly textured or raised like the SwiftPod t-shirt was. However, out of Monster Digital's t-shirt and Printful's t-shirt, I would say that the Monster Digital print was superior. The maroon red colours were more closely matched on their print. The Printful's t-shirt red came out more crimson. However, in saying that, I don't think that most customers would notice, and because the print quality itself was nice, as long as the customers liked the design itself, I think that customers would usually rate this t-shirt a 5 out of 5 if I sent them a follow-up email asking them to review it. And so then, this leads me on to one of the most common questions I get, which is this: Sarah, what is better, Printify or Printful? And well, when they ask me this, I usually say to them, okay, first of all, go through each catalogue of products, because you might find that only one of them is actually selling the product that you want to sell, and so if that is so, then obviously there is a clear winner. But if each of them is selling the product that you want to sell, such as a t-shirt, then usually Printify is going to be anywhere from between 5 to 25% cheaper if you go with a supplier that is well rated and well priced. And this can of course be very important because sometimes this profit difference can make or break whether a product is worth selling or not. However, in saying that, if you pick Printful, you'll get the convenience of working directly with just one print shop company that is well rated and has global print shops as part of it, and that is immensely convenient. So for me, I do like the convenience of Printful, which is why I use them myself in conjunction with Printify. I'm happy to pay for their convenience. But understandably, most people are price sensitive rather than convenience sensitive. And so for those people, Printify is usually the website that they prefer. Now you see, I do have to apologize because up until this point, this video has been very standard, very normal, and it's been very technical. I probably bored most people by now with all of my price comparisons and my print quality comparisons, and for that I do indeed apologize. But don't worry, because things are about to get really dramatic, because I'm now going to give my brutal honest review on Gelato. Yes, so Gelato has rapidly risen the ranks of popularity and is now seemingly becoming the third biggest print-on-demand supplier, or at least it appears to be, which isn't a surprise to me because I've seen that they sponsor a lot of videos on YouTube. And so now, as a result, many people are asking for my opinion on it. And I'll tell you now, my opinion on it is very simple. I literally don't care how good or cheap the products that Gelato creates are. I literally don't care because I don't trust Gelato to be able to maintain quality control due to a lack of transparency. Nope, I don't, because as I'll explain later, Gelato to me feels like it's the Mr. Beast burger of the print-on-demand world, and I personally see that as a bad thing, not a good thing. But of course, don't worry, I did include them in my t-shirts order so that I could compare the printing quality to Printful and Printify for this video, but more on that later. So yes, this here is Gelato. Just like Printify and Printful, it works pretty much the same. You just sign up for a free account and then you integrate it into your store. And you might want to check first though, because Gelato, being a much younger app than Printify and Printful, has a much smaller selection of integration partners. For example, you can integrate Printify and Printful both into eBay, but Gelato has no eBay integration. So that alone may stop you from being able to use Gelato in the first place. But if your store can be integrated, then you get to move on to the next step, which is that you can now go through the catalogue of products and choose one to customize. And as you do, if you've had any experience with Printful or Printify, you'll quickly notice that Gelato's catalogue is distinctly smaller. much smaller. They don't have any of the weird and wacky items like Printify does with its car seat covers and Bluetooth speakers, and they don't have any of Printful's niche clothing like its tie-dye hoodies either. Instead, Gelato takes a different approach. They mostly focus on what you could say are the industry's greatest hits. Gelato has seemingly picked the most popular products in the industry and focuses on them. And I actually don't mind this at all. Nope, because the truth is that the popular products like the classic t-shirt and the classic white mug are the products that most people want to sell anyway. Because, well, they make the most money. So it honestly makes sense to me that Gelato would focus on the most popular products rather than trying to compete and appeal to more niche markets. And there seems to have been a benefit to that too, because many of their prices are fairly low. For example, take Gelato's Bella Canvas 3001 t-shirt. They're selling it for $10.12, with a USA shipping cost of $4.66, for a total of $14.78 before membership discounts. And well, it is absolutely cheaper than Printful, whose t-shirt is $11.50, with a USA shipping cost of $4.69 before membership discounts, for a total of $16.19. And it's even cheaper than Monster Digital on Printify, whose t-shirt before membership discounts is $11.42, with USA shipping costing $3.99, for a total of $15.41. So yes, while you do need to make sure you individually check each item out on the 3 apps to see which is cheaper, especially if you do plan to sign up for any membership product discounts, overall Gelato's pricing is usually cheaper than Printful and is very competitive, if not cheaper, than Printify. And just like with Printify and Printful, it's pretty easy to customize an item. You just upload your design onto it. Personally, I find Gelato's product designer app slower and clunkier to use. This in itself is absolutely not a deal breaker, by the way. I wouldn't pick a company to use based on that, but it's definitely the worst out of the 3 in my personal opinion. And then, once you've customized it, you then just push the product into your store and you list it for a market price. And then, you know the drill, once a customer comes and buys a product from you, Gelato's print shop will then print your design onto the product, package it up and ship it out to the customer, while you get to keep the difference as profit. Yay. But you see, here's the thing, as I said before, I don't care how cheap or good quality the products are that Gelato are selling right now, because I don't want to use Gelato as my print-on-demand provider. Period. Because you see, like Printify, Gelato does not actually make any of the products it sells. Instead, they work with production partners, just like Printify does. You can go to a section on their page, Gelato Connect, which explains how to become one of their production partners if you yourself watching happen to own a print shop. But you see, unlike Printify, who transparently lists the names of each production partner that they use on their partner page, and which also allow you to go in and choose exactly which print partner and print shop will make the products for your customers, you cannot do this with Gelato. Nope, instead, if you come to a product page, such as the Bella Canvas 3001 t-shirt, and click to select more information about production, it will tell you how many countries that they've got partner facilities in, which for this is 13 countries. And that's it. That's all it will tell you. Basically, all of the partner facilities that Gelato works with are kept anonymous and they're kept white label, which is why, as I said earlier, it reminds me of Mr. Beast Burger. If you didn't know, Mr. Beast, the largest YouTuber in the world, released his own burger, except when he released it, he didn't actually have his own physical restaurants. Instead, he released it through Virtual Dining Concepts, a virtual kitchen company that has thousands of kitchens signed up in its network to anonymously sell its brands. And the way a virtual kitchen works is pretty simple. Let's say that you had a restaurant nearby, like a Denny's. Well, that Denny's shop can sign up for Virtual Dining Concepts and, on the side, create and deliver one of their virtual fast food brands, like Mr. Beast Burgers. They just list themselves on a delivery app, like Uber Eats, as Mr. Beast Burger. Then, when customers come to Uber Eats and order a local Mr. Beast burger, it'll actually secretly be made and delivered by the anonymous white label virtual kitchen, which in this example was, of course, your local Denny's. And well, it was at first a huge success. By piggybacking off of thousands of pre-existing kitchens, it allowed Mr. Beast to quickly launch and sell his burgers, selling over 1 million burgers very fast. However, as we all know, not all restaurants are equal. Some cook food better than others, and so that's exactly what happened. Over time, Mr. Beast Burger got more and more negative reviews online because different virtual kitchens had different quality standards. everyone's burgers looked different, and some were so bad that they were inedible. Eventually, it got so bad that Mr. Beast sued Virtual Dining Concepts, claiming that the poor quality control from the random kitchens hurt and damaged his brand's reputation. He said he regretted using them and that it was a massive mistake. And then, in return, Virtual Dining Concepts sued Mr. Beast for breach of contract. And so, as you can see, the whole incident was just a huge disaster. And so, the moral of the story here is, as he said in this tweet, working with anonymous partners to produce products makes it impossible to do quality control. And so, call me a control freak, I don't care. I don't like the fact that Gelato keeps their printing partners a secret so that I can't do quality control. And so I don't like that I don't get to pick which of their printing partners will make and ship my products. Which is exactly what happened, of course, when I ordered my t-shirt from them. I didn't get to pick who made it. It was redirected anonymously to a printing partner in New Zealand, as I live in New Zealand. Which is absolutely something that I have to mention, because while yes, all of Gelato's printing facilities are anonymous, they easily have the best international selection out of the 3 big apps. Yep, they are, for example, the only one to have at least one print shop here in New Zealand as part of their network, and they have by far the cheapest international niche market production and shipping costs too. So if you're selling to a lot of niche international markets like here in New Zealand, I wouldn't be surprised if you actually disagree with me and you think that Gelato is a great app, because I'll tell you now, since it got printed and shipped locally here within New Zealand, it easily came the fastest. And honestly, most customers would be happy with receiving this t-shirt. The color quality was similar to Printful. It might not show up on camera because of the lighting variance, and if so, I apologize, but in person, their colors look quite similar. However, unlike Printful, the print in person definitely feels more textured with that slightly sticky feel. It was much milder than SwiftPods though, but I'd still guess that it was due to ink binding more intensely because of an excessive pre-treatment process. In saying that though, I genuinely think that most customers would be happy receiving this t-shirt. However, the problem with my review though is that it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? Because your experience could vary drastically from mine. Because who knows how many different print shops that Gelato works with in New Zealand. They are not transparent and they do not disclose that number. Maybe they don't just have one print provider, maybe they have 2 print on demand providers, and maybe one of them, the other one, is worse than the one that made my t-shirt. So even if you live in New Zealand and you decide to use Gelato, your t-shirts might come out looking worse, depending upon which print shop that your products get automatically assigned to. And if you or your customers live in, say, the USA, your t-shirt would be printed by an entirely different print-on-demand company anyway that is based in the USA, and they will have many print shops within their anonymous network in the USA, and you'll never know which ones will be making and shipping your t-shirts for your customers, and some will absolutely be better or worse than others. And so again, I personally find this a nightmare for quality control, and so I just have no personal interest in using Gelato at this time unless the situation changes. But yes, I guess the final question then is this: which one is best? And my answer is that, well, none of them are the best. They are all just different and they all have their own pros and cons, and the question is, which one's pros and cons match up best with what you need and what you want? And keep in mind with all of this that you can mix and match them. You don't just have to use one app in your store. Nope, maybe you have a lot of Australian and New Zealand customers that buy mugs from you. And so you might opt to use Gelato to make and ship your mugs to both reduce printing and shipping costs, since they have production partners in both Australia and in New Zealand. But since perhaps most of the customers in your store buying your t-shirts are instead based in the USA, then you might opt to use Printify and select Monster Digital through them instead for better quality control. And then perhaps you couldn't find a good cheap supplier on Printify to make your drink bottles. So you know what you do? You opt to use Printful for those. Either way, let's do one final t-shirt ranking report, shall we? So, in last place is SwiftPod from Printify with its overly textured, bright print. Then next up in 4th place is Fulfill Engine from Printify, which in contrast had an overly dark, washed out print. Then far ahead of those two was Gelato's t-shirt, which was very close to the 2nd place, which was Printful's t-shirt, which just edged out the Gelato t-shirt. And then in 1st place was Monster Digital from Printify. Isn't it interesting how Printify managed to earn both 1st place and last place? So then, if you'd like to learn more about how I make and design print-on-demand products that I sell, be sure to watch my next video here on screen, and I'll see you in the next video.